Welcome everybody. Have an interesting topic today. The difference between, or actually, why Vaidhi Bhaktas usually misunderstand Raganuga Bhaktas. This happens a lot, and I think it'll be a good discussion for the benefit of the world and people trying to understand Krishna consciousness in the most deep way that they are capable of. I don't know. Maybe we'll just jump right in. I was thinking of chanting first, but I think maybe they'll try this here. All right, we have some. I won't say who it is, but some dialogue we got going here between some devotees that were a devotee that was interested in what we're doing and now has changed his mind, and that's normal. It happens, and so I thought we'd have this discussion about the different ideas between the Vaidhi Bhakta camp and the Raganuga Bhakta camp, and just see what comes from it. Okay, so here's some of the here's one of the comments here. Um, let's see, should we start with that one or? All right, let's do this one. So one of the comments is Raganuga Raganuga is the spontaneous desire to follow the principles, not to do with which ones you like and chant around here and there. If you are following under the shelter of one of the residents of Goloka, which is required for Raganuga, you should not be doing, well, I think he meant you should be doing mental seva and focusing on Krishna's Astika Lila. I have not heard this from you. If you really want to be a Raganuga, follow Prabhupada as he gave it, or leave and follow Babaji of Vrindavan. Or you can listen to Mahanidhi Swami, Madan Gopal Das Babaji. But there is no way around chanting your rounds and following the regs. Anything else is pure cheating and imagination. Okay, so that's one thing. So we're going to take certain things he's saying here to prove spontaneous desire to follow the principles. So he's meaning basically the principles of Vaidhi Bhakta, and that's not Raganuga at all. It's not the desire to follow. And I'm going to read you the see. A lot of people are trying to discern the path of Raganuga Bhakta, or criticize those who are actually following the real path of Raganuga Bhakti by the preaching of Prabhupada 50 years ago, and don't take the context of it to say that he's talking to very much to beginners. Matter of fact, these principles that basically I'm teaching here in this sangha are Chaitanya Charitamrita, the deeper principles of the desire and the purpose of Lord Caitanya. So Prabhupada called this postgraduate. So how can, I mean, logically, how can any devotees think that they can um, they can actually comment on or criticize a devotee's teaching Chaitanya Charitamrita when Prabhupada 50 years ago said it was postgraduate, and not to even have it taught by a actual experienced devotee who actually understands Lord Chaitanya. See, they think they can just figure it out from Prabhupada's preaching of saying a few things here and there, and it often is contradicting um, things that he was preaching and what actually he even wrote in his own books and all this stuff. You cannot figure it out by trying to figure out this path of Raganuga Bhakti without an actual instructor, unless you brought this in from a previous life, and you will actually have to take shelter of these scriptures anyway. Or if you're lucky, you find actual spontaneous devotee. Um, Good. I'm glad you're here there, Mathura Das, because this is great. I'm really happy that you brought this stuff up. So thank you very much, man. I see this as an opportunity for everybody, all of us, to get clear on the subject. And this has happened many times before, and I actually have not gone into it enough. And so I'm taking this as Krishna's desire here. So thanks a lot, Mathura Das. So, okay, so we're discussing some of these things that you said. Okay, so I'm going to go over this again, and then we're going to go deep into this here. So, this devotee says, Raganuga Bhakti is a spontaneous desire to follow the principles. And I think you're meaning the principles of Vaidhi that Prabhupada taught, follow the rules, the regulation, the program, the chanting, the 16 rounds, and all that. Okay, now, see, Raganuga Bhakti. You have to learn from the actual instructor that actually knows this path by personal experience. Okay, and so that we'll have to go through to some other books and also Prabhupada's books. I can go in there also. But here I just wanted to call everyone's attention to this verse. This is in Ragvartma Chandrika by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Okay, so this is in the first diffusion. Okay, so the fifth verse. Starting with the third verse. So when one's devotion is prompted by the orders received from the revealed scriptures, then it is called Vaidhi Bhakti. But when one is prompted simply by spiritual greed, then it is called Raganuga Bhakti. Okay, next verse. I'm going to go back into this. The word pravatika in the previous verse means being fixed in devotional practices. The two kinds of candidates for devotional service, Vaidhi and Raganuga, should have fear of scriptural injunctions and this is for the other, for the Raganugas, and intense spiritual greed, respectively. So for the Vaidhi Bhaktas, they need basically reverence and fear more, and they follow the principles of Vaidhi. Then that was taught, for sure, by Prabhupada. He came to teach Vaidhi Bhakti, Varnashram Dharma. So just because now you learn from the spiritual master and from the Vedas, the revealed scriptures, that if you don't engage in some level of devotional service, you're going to hell. You can't help it because you're going to start breaking things. And I mean, if you have faith in the scriptures, you'll say, well, I'm going to follow, I've got to start being religious because I don't want to go to hell. Okay, so there's that. Now, spiritual greed is another thing. So spiritual greed, and this we'll go into the next verse, it'll explain a little bit better, more clear. So Rupa Goswami has personally given the following definition of lobha, sacred greed. When the heart yearns for the sweetness of the moods of Krishna and his eternal associates in Vraj, and one is not prompted by scriptural injunctions or logical arguments, then that is the definition of sacred greed. Okay, and so you have to practically see this instituted instead of just trying to figure it out with your own mind or with a Vaidhi mind. You actually have to see how a devotee following in the footsteps of Lord Caitanya is basically doing the same thing Lord Caitanya did. And I'm going to read you that verse, how the Lord actually preached this Krishna consciousness. So if we go to Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, the 4th chapter and the 32nd verse. So Krishna or Lord Chaitanya says, I shall taste the essence of all these rasas in this way, and I shall favor all of the devotees. So the key word is I shall taste. So most Vaidhi Bhaktas don't understand what that means. A lot of Christians don't understand, even ecstatic ones. They don't understand it's about tasting. I shall taste the essence of all these rasas. So that's Lord Caitanya. He was the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the conjugal mood, and he wanted to taste all the essence of all the rasas because he could do that. The gopi mood can do that too. They can taste the essence of all the various rasas to serve Krishna because that all are included in the conjugal mood. Okay, we'll get into that. I'm going to go through a little bit and then we'll answer questions more. Okay. So yeah, that's a good question. I'm glad you mentioned that. We'll go through everything. I'll share everything that I know. Um, okay, I shall taste the essence of all these rasas. So taste is a very important requirement, is taste. And like people might think, they come up to say a Raganuga or a spontaneous devotee and say, well, who is your guru? It doesn't matter who your guru is per se. The bottom line is, can you taste the moods of Vrindavan, or at least some mood? Are you in some mood of Vrindavan? Can you actually taste it to the point where it actually brings tears to the eyes and a very intense desire for Krishna, very intense, and then so that's called sacred greed. Okay, so just relax there. You can put all your comments down, and I'll go over them in a little bit. But these are very deep points, and we got to go gradually into them here. Okay, sacred greed. When the heart yearns for the sweetness of the moods of Krishna and his eternal associates in Vraj, and one is prompted by scriptural injunctions. One is okay. I don't want to go. That's too far. When one's heart yearns for the sweetness of the moods of Krishna and his eternal associates in Vraj, okay. So how can one actually yearn for the moods of the of the way of the worship of the residents of Vraj are doing unless you see it? You actually have to do it like Lord Caitanya did it. Lord Caitanya tasted the essence of the moods of the various devotees in Vraj. And in this way, he did this before, at first with his more confidential associates, and gradually started to do this more publicly. And those who developed a desire by seeing him worship in that way, they were given entrance into Raganuga Bhakti. It wasn't dependent on, oh, have you followed the morning program properly? Have you chanted your 16 rounds? Have you done enough Tulsi pujas and Guru pujas and like that? No, it's more this ecstasy, this intimacy and ecstasy, and this kind of special worship was manifested. And like that's what we have that happening here. You see people worshiping very intimately and very ecstatically these in the mood of Vrindavan. You can tell because they're attracted to Vrindavan literature. They like to read about Lord Caitanya, who is actually Radha and Krishna. They like to read about Lord Caitanya, Radha and Krishna. We have like Lalita Ganga, very advanced in devotion. She manifests the moods of the devotees in Vrindavan. See, so she was always very attracted. She was attracted to her guru here, who was chanting the holy names. Actually, the real qualification is when you see a devotee chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in this very intimate, ecstatic mood, and you're attracted to that way of chanting, that's your entrance into this path. If you're thinking, like brought up by this devotee, well, you're not qualified. You don't chant your 16 rounds. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You're not qualified. Then you're not qualified to be a candidate of Raganuga Bhakti. The bottom line is you see this ecstatic devotion and your heart is attracted to also, even though you may not even be able to do that, but you desire to associate with the devotees who do worship like that, and you get an incredible amount of mercy to actually come onto this path. Whereas a person, if they could be a guru or a sannyasi and following very strictly the Vaidhi principles, that person will not be given entrance into this until they see such a devotee and they say, okay, I just also want to do this. But if they're thinking, oh, I'm still not qualified, I can't do that, or they have to criticize the devotee and say, well, he's not qualified either. Okay, well, anyway, the bottom line is this: if there's devotees here in our sangha that are demonstrating every day spiritual greed, how could they come for 4 hours a day, 365 days a week, a year if they don't have spiritual greed. It doesn't even make sense. It's not even logical. These people preaching against this, what we're doing here, they can't do that. What kind of qualification do they have to analyze devotees who you could see with your own eyes chanting the holy names with great ecstatic devotion in the mood of Raj, and all confirmed by the scriptures? Those who have ecstatic devotion, chapter 23, Madhya Lila, is the devotees who have this doing devotional service in ecstatic love of God. They sometimes laugh, they sometimes cry, choke in the voice. It's all natural, and they relishing these very deep sweetnesses of Krishna's name and pastimes. So those symptoms are here. These are symptoms of prema. It's right. The book confirms it. People can say whatever they want, but even the book confirms it. The experience of the guru confirms it. And the sadhus who are getting this mercy confirm it. Guru, sadhu, and shastras more strongly here than a bunch of people out there saying, blah, 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 trying to analyze our preaching, our actual experience by way of Prabhupada's preaching to beginners 50 years ago. Or Radhakund Babaji's, with many of who they're not. I mean, you're anybody, like if you're quoting Mahanidhi Swami as an expert, well, he'll be if he's a real expert, well, he'll be worshiping in this ecstasy. Have you seen it? I have never seen it on him. Never seen it manifested. Never. I met him many times. I've never seen any ecstasy like this. So to me, you're an expert if you actually you're an experienced devotee relishing the moods of Raj, like we have here in this Sangha. See, and actually, teaching these principles, practicing these principles. I'm going to go to the questions and comments here in a minute. So I just want to get these points. Okay. So the bottom line is, when the heart yearns for the sweetnesses of the mood of Krishna and his eternal associates in Vraj, and one is not prompted by scriptural injunction or is not prompted by scriptural injunctions or logical arguments. What's that going on here? Did I lose anything here? Let's see. No, still going. Okay. Or logical arguments, then that is the definition of sacred greed. So basically, you got to see it. You see it like it's manifesting here. And you're not prompted, well, I don't know, I can't do that, or he's not doing that, because logical arguments, you got to follow the Vaidhi path and do this certain amount of principles and everything. There are a lot of good, strict devotees, but they're not attracted to this way of worship. It's just how it is. They're attracted to Vaidhi. I think even you said, Mathura, that you're a Vaikuntha man. So, hey man, that's fine. I'm not a Vaikuntha man. I'm a Vrindavan person. I'm just naturally. Always been. I've always loved Lord Caitanya from the very first day we met via his book, and Radha and Krishna via their names. From the very first day, I didn't have any question about it. Okay, so let me go into some of the comments here. All right, I'm sure we've sparked quite a bit. Yeah, I already see it here. Okay, I'm going back here and start from the beginning. Whoa, you guys are really going good. Okay, so Mathura says, I will go point by point with you, since you are not able to control your disciples. Okay, well, that is ridiculous. That's like saying, whenever you slight me, I'll point it to the other. Madhavinda Puri was also not able to control all his disciples. And that's not, that's not the thing. I'm not here to control my disciples. Everybody has their own desires and their own journey on this path. What is it? What did Prabhupada, was he able to control all his disciples? Come on, don't give me that. That's not even logical. See, you're even putting that on Prabhupada. So when you say to me, you can't control your disciples, Prabhupada couldn't control his disciples either. They either want to come under the control of either the Vaidhi path or the Raganuga path according to their ability. Not everybody. This is a big thing. People here, I marry them to Krishna the best I can, and they have to make their journey to that. Yeah, it's like saying to Madhavinda Puri, "Oh, listen, you had one bogus disciple. What's his name was Ramachandra Puri. Therefore, you can't control your disciples." Well, you didn't control Ramachandra Puri. You know, so that's the thing. You know, but those who are like made it through, like, okay, a lot of times, like here now, nobody's qualified to follow this path, like you can't even go by the book exactly, because we're in a different time, place, and circumstance, and very intricate things have to be applied. Many devotees have to go through a certain kind of purification before they can become more into it, and have already. I mean, look at Lalita Ganga. Look at River, which she's going through even now. Lalita Ganga had a intense time for a year, of a lot of heavy purification. And then now, she's through most of it, and looks very steady in this tasting Krishna's sweetnesses. Symptom of a very advanced devotee. Radha and Krishna living in her heart, man. Okay, so point by point. All right. Okay, so that's my point. Let's see what other point here. So, since you are not in the Diksha line from Srila Prabhupada, you should humbly listen to someone who is, or disconnect yourself from using his materials. Okay, you see, that's another point. See, you're asking me, you're going against actually the principles of Raganuga Bhakti like this. I'm going with them. I'm just naturally attracted to Prabhupada's books. I don't need to know, am I qualified for reading Chaitanya Charitamrita? Am I qualified for reading Radha Rasa Sudha Nidhi? I don't have any question about that. I just am. And I go for it, man. I got greed. You don't. I mean, and whether see, like you're saying, I'm not in a Diksha line. Well, our line is not a Diksha line. Our line is a Shiksha line. You should study Prabhupada's books. You find our line is a Shiksha line. The Lord Prabhupada gives Diksha to bring you closer to Guru, and that's for mainly, usually for neophytes, to keep them in the game. Just like Vaidhi Bhakti, it keeps you, the principles keep your mind focused, because you're still in your mind. I don't live in my mind. I live in bliss, man, ecstatic worship. That's my consciousness. But if you're a beginner, you got to connect somehow to Krishna, and because you're still identifying with the mind and the body and the material emotions, you got to engage gradually. You develop some, what do you call, qualification. So I was always attracted to Raganuga Bhakti, or spontaneous devotion, from the very beginning. I had no question. I just went for it. The only problem I had was with the Vaidhi Bhaktas, to figure out these things. Okay, not in the Diksha line. I'm in the Shiksha line. Prabhupada came to me in a lucid dream, and that's proven that and Krishna came to my second disciple, and proof of that is people are getting devotion. Just like there's a great verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita where Lord Chaitanya said, yes, it is correct. Those who awaken devotion to Krishna are certainly the spiritual master. So that's what we do here. People's devotion, ecstatic devotion, not just Vaidhi devotion, practicing Vaidhi principles, but actually ecstatic devotion is awakening in the heart, which is proof that a real guru is manifest. Krishna is really using Mr. Fool Gaura Hari Das to do some work here. He really is. Okay, let's see what else. Who is your instructor? Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, who is my instructor? Well, even Bhakti Vinod said, even once this devotion awakens, you need to have some instructor. So often there may or may not be an actual instructor in spontaneous devotional service. Such devotees are very rare. Very rare. And so you have to take help of the Vedas, and the devotee that's actually engaged in spontaneous devotional love of God because of a previous life. I was always attracted to Jesus Christ on the ecstatic level, and Lord Caitanya on the ecstatic level from the very first day. I had ecstatic symptoms awakened. So I brought this in from a previous life. And I was always looking for a guru that could give me, because I also read in there, but I haven't found anybody that was capable of giving me more than I have or had, because now what I had is increased and is increasing all the time. Matter of fact, not only in me, but a lot of my faithful disciples, their path is increasing. And some are having problems. Well, amen. That's the way it is. At least, they're in the game. They're on the train. Everybody comes with various qualifications, usually from their past life. So, Mathura, which of the Goswamis teaching Raganuga was not chanting 64 rounds or the regulative principles? This is another thing. You're trying to make this a way of attaining Krishna by chanting rounds. We've already attained Krishna here, and you don't have faith in Raganuga. You have faith in Vaidhi. Yeah, I'm not here to attain Krishna. I've already got Krishna and Radha. I already got Lord Caitanya. I know that, and you don't believe it, and therefore that's why you can't follow this path. But those who do, Lalita, Ganga, and Johan, not believe it, and not only that, to the point that they also got Radha and Krishna, Lord Caitanya, but you don't. You only have Vaidhi. I mean, you have them on the level of Vaidhi, but not like they do. Because you even told me directly, you are not attracted to this ecstatic worship. You're a Vaikuntha man. I heard this with my own ears, right? So what do you expect? Yeah, so you're back in your Vaidhi thing. Great. I'm not leaving this. I'm here to those who are ready for this platform. A lot of people are there with ISKCON and Gaudiya Smriti and Gaudiya Math by default. This is not available. Now it is. On Prabhupada's order and Krishna's order. Yeah. So I don't care. You don't believe it. That's your loss, man. Your loss, really, to be honest with you. And that's okay. Maybe for you, it's not a loss because you like Vaidhi. You're a Vaikuntha man. Fine. No problem, man. Yeah. To each his own. I like this way. I've always liked this way. It's natural for me. And I'm here. I know my mission. The mission given to me by Prabhupada. I don't care, people. You think it's just a dream. Well, that's your problem. I've already been through that, been there, done that. I know it's real. I know it's real because I see it manifest, the results manifest of following that order. People are getting ecstatic devotion here. And those who don't have faith in this Raganuga path, you can't follow it. That's simple. You don't believe you're qualified. You don't believe I'm qualified. So therefore, you can't follow. Hey, man, I'm going to follow this till my last breath. I love it, man. My whatever I have is increasing all the time. There's no way I wouldn't follow. The protection I get, I don't see anybody having this kind of protection, these kinds of revelations and realizations. I haven't seen anybody, that can inspire people to come 365 days a year for 3 to 4 or 5 hours a day. You talk about, hey man, I couldn't do that on my own. It's only because Radha and Krishna are inspiring this fool, Gaur Haridas, man. They're doing this. This is why it's successful, because they are really behind it. Because Prabhupada is really behind it. People can bark, but the procession is going to go on, man. Yeah. So, and practically, the devotees can't chant 64. A lot of devotees are very busy. And this is not 500 years ago when everybody's just sitting down in Vrindavan, and nothing else to do. Yeah, beloved boys, the Lord is so kind. He gives this bhakti attraction to Krishna. And whether you chant 64 rounds, 16 rounds, or 5 rounds, if you do it and devotion awakens your heart, even one name. Lord Caitanya taught this principle. He said, even if you chant one holy name, and that means a holy name in devotion, because you're with a bona fide associate of Lord Caitanya, Radha and Krishna, and you get that special mercy. You chant one name in ecstasy, that's better than 16. And if you chant 2 names in ecstasy, that's even better. But still, if you evince the symptoms, like in Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma said, those who evince the symptoms of ecstasy, tears in the eyes, hair standing in the body, choking in the voice, they are promoted to the kingdom of God, even though they may not be interested in austerities of chanting the 16 rounds or 64 rounds. Doesn't matter. They have the ecstatic potency because they have faith in a very rare ecstatic devotee sent here in this world. See? But those who don't, doesn't matter. You can chant till you're blue in the face. You can chant your 64 rounds if you want. But if you don't have faith in the preaching of a spontaneous devotee empowered by Radha and Krishna, a little waitress like Amy, she's going to get more mercy than a person that doesn't have faith in a real devotee. I don't care how many rounds you've chanted. She's going to get more mercy because she has faith where Krishna and Radha are actually working in this world transcendentally. She has faith in Satchidananda, and a Vaidhi Bhakta may not, and they usually don't. Because they think, I'm not qualified in even the Satchidananda manifested devotee. I don't have faith in you either. Well, too bad. You lose. Yeah, you're not going to be like a Lalita Ganga in this life, or a Johan ecstatically thinking about Krishna ecstasy. And if it's not attracted to somebody, well, what can be done, man? Not everybody's a connoisseur of pure devotional service, because you got to be like, on the same page with Lord Caitanya and Radha and Krishna and their devotees. They're connoisseurs. They like this kind of bhakti. Lord Caitanya came to distribute this kind of bhakti. See, he came to distribute it as a free gift, and you are trying to attain it. Yeah, that shows you Vaidhi, very unclear. You're not clear, man. Many Vaidhis are not clear about Lord Caitanya. You want me to read it? I'll just read it, and you can see. See, and by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Raj, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. There you go, all rituals, but you can't do it, man, because you have no faith in this path. You have no faith that this is bona fide, even though you can see every day you see ecstatic devotion, and you don't believe it. Well, a lot of Vaidhis are like that. They're tough nuts, man. They're stubborn. And that's okay. Be what you are, man. Procession's going to go on, man. We are so in line with the scriptures, and Vaidhis can't understand it unless they come here and listen very patiently. Otherwise, they ain't going to get it. You ain't going to get it on your own. You ain't going to get it on Prabhupada's preaching to babies 50 years ago, and you think you're so smart. Yeah, you're smart if you have ecstatic devotion, and most don't. That's smart. That's the only thing that gives us any smarts. To those who worship Krishna with loving ecstasy, I give them the understanding. I give them real knowledge. Read that verse. You Vaidhis, any of you, read that verse. You have loving ecstasy to the point of tears and pouring water out of your thing and deep revelations that you see here every day? No. You're tough nuts, man. All of you. You're tough and you're hard. And that's where you get hard teachings for hard devotees. That's where you get that, man. Hard, because you got hard hearts and hard ideas, and you're stubborn like donkeys. You can't admit you're fools. You can't see the empowerment. Well, what to do? You're going to go your own way. And you don't, that's the way it is. So don't Lalita Ganga give her bra away as prasad. Can you explain where this is in Shastra? And I told that stupid Karuna to stop doing shit like that. To stop doing it. And he still does these things. And that's it. That's what he does. What am I going to do? I told him I didn't like that. Because Vaidhi Bhaktas like yourself, they use it as a point to criticize. They don't understand these things. Yeah, it's not in the Shastras. There's a lot of things, not in the Shastras. Well, actually, that's sort of in the Shastras, because Lord Caitanya wanted to show the sacredness of his devotees, and he takes the loincloth that's wrapped around the gonads of Nityananda and tells his devotees to wrap it around their head and worship it like a deity. So there is that. So where is it in Shastras? Well, where you can't find it, because I just told you where it is in that sense. Because anything related to a devotee, and especially the the gopis, the breasts are always talked about. I mean, I don't make a big thing about it, but the breasts of the gopis are very sacred because there's real pure love coming from the chest area, and it's not sex stuff. It's pure love of God, love of Krishna. Anyway, I told Karuna that I see, and that's the what would happen, that people would misunderstand it. So it's so easy to dismiss people when you have nothing else to stand on. Yeah, well, that's because you're bewildered, man. I can see it already. You've been contaminated by people who can't do what you see done here. People who can't worship Krishna in the kind of ecstasy you see here. You you have faith in their preaching, therefore you fell down from this path. You didn't have enough association. You need to be here and here for a long time. But you have your Vaidhi tendencies and Vaidhi association. So that's why you're gone. Yeah, you're not the only one. That's like Prabhupada said, no different. He also had his problems with people. They come and they get such a great association with Prabhupada living here in the world. And a devotee said, well, Prabhupada, people are leaving you. He said, don't be surprised if they leave. Be surprised if they stay. See, I say the same thing. I'm not surprised that you left and many others do leave. But I'm surprised when they stay. It shows me that they really want Krishna, that Krishna is really important to them, and they go through the purification. See, you're knocked off. People tell you, you can't, you can't. You go associate with Gaur Hari. Listen to me, Gaur Hari's you believe in offenders and offensive people that are offensive to actually the Lord in his higher forms, his more ecstatic, more subtle forms. You believe in their preaching, and therefore you've been contaminated like that, and you'll see. Well, you probably won't see. You're just going into that level. So I'm not surprised. You have to really associate long enough to where you develop faith, in this level. It's just like this. It's very similar in Jesus's preaching. In Jesus' preaching, a lot of people had faith in the Pharisees' preaching, and then they fell down or they couldn't hold on. And it's the same thing. They have faith in the Old Testament preaching, the rules, regulations, just like in Vaishnavism. You have faith in the 50-year-ago preaching of Prabhupada, teaching neophytes. Okay, you're still like that. You're still there. What can be done? You're not ready for a real guru. You're not ready. Your gurus are those people, your friends out there, that are still more or less in the same spot they were when they started. It's no different. Even your attitude, even how you present yourself is like the old-time religion. They haven't changed, and you're back into that too. What can I say? No imagination. Your symptoms are not real. There you go. You have no faith in this. Could you imagine if I believed you? Where would I be? I that to me isn't logical. See, it's imagination. Your symptoms are not real. Yeah, well, I believe in these symptoms. These symptoms are what do you call? They're confirmed in the Shastras. They're confirmed. I'll show you. For example, you say they're imaginations. Well, the Shastras don't say it's imagination. Here, let's see here. Let's go to it. Chapter 23 of Madhya Lila. Life's ultimate goal. Chapter 23, Madhya Lila. Chapter, what is that number? Okay, so even the most learned man, this is text number 39. Even the most learned man cannot understand the words, activities, and symptoms of a person situated in love of Godhead. So what can you expect that a Vaidhi Bhakta is going to understand somebody who's in love of God? They don't have the capacity to even analyze. But if you take direction of the scriptures, if you have the ability, then here you go. When text 41. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, see, takes pleasure. Do you see anybody taking pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord? And taking pleasure is not just something mundane pleasure, it's transcendental pleasure. When you take pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, the following symptoms that you see here are manifest. He also, he who very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, sometimes and becomes agitated and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Have you seen any of the chanting of devotees here like that? Have you seen Johann chant? Have you seen Lalita Ganga chant? It's manifest. These scriptures confirm their chanting is real, not imagination. What you are saying is an illusion. What you're saying doesn't agree, not only with Guru, with the sadhus out there who have the experience and the shastras. You're out of line, Mathura. That's the truth. You are an imagination. You're just projecting. You're an illusionist in that way. See, you're creating an illusion. That's not, I'm going by the Shastras. I'm going by my experience. I'm going by the devotees, the awakening devotees who have faith in this preaching here. Experience. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Where is your Guru, Sadhu, Shastra? Huh? I'm talking about even the advanced Shastras. I'm talking about postgraduate Shastras. See, that your friends have no entrance into because they don't chant like this. You got to be an experienced devotee, experiencing these moods of Raj by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. If you don't have these moods, you can't preach this. You can't teach this, and you cannot understand this unless you listen to a real devotee, authentic, authorized devotee. But you don't believe it. Therefore, you have no entrance here. You don't have faith. You know, your friends don't have faith. You don't have faith. So you're back into go chant your 16 rounds. It's fine. It's great. You know, go do your rituals, do your deity worship, do whatever you do. Okay. And we'll do what we do. I love being here. I love this work. And, you know, you can not believe it. I don't associate with non-believers. I associate with intimately with those who believe in the real Krishna. Real Krishna is Satchidananda. He's Ananda. He's the ecstasy you see of the devotees chanting here is proof that the real Radha and Krishna are here. He's the chit understanding. That's what the verse I read, it's my experience and the experience of the sadhus out there. And if you don't believe that, well, too bad for you, man. I don't associate intimately with people like you. I'm here to help you. You can't add not even a drop to my life. The best thing service you've done was to act like that and to say those things and to go against this preaching. That is the best service I can see because it gives me a chance to preach the real truth and set maybe some Vaidhi Bhaktas free who do have some good sense and that are not too hardened hearts, hard rocks, So anyway, there you go, man. That verse shows you this is those who have the symptoms of love of God. You can see those symptoms here, confirmed by the scriptures, confirmed by the sadhus, confirmed by the guru. Okay? Very rare to even find any confirmation in this world with all these kinds of persons here who don't even understand what this is. So replying to Mathura Das. If you are a Vrindavan person, follow properly to gain entry. Who are you to instruct? Who can you instruct? How can you instruct? You're not a Raganuga Bhakti. How, these show how foolish you are. Come fool number one. How can you instruct here? You're trying, this is the problem. Vaidhi Bhaktas are trying to instruct spontaneous devotees, proven devotees, those who awaken spontaneous devotion to others. They want to be the instructor. How stupid. I'm sorry, Mathura.
Okay, we're back. Did we lose anybody? Okay, I think we're back. Okay, I lost all the questions. Oh, okay. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to switch cameras here. Having camera problems. Okay, maybe it's okay now. Yeah, so anyway, I lost all the questions unless I can go to the, let me see if I go to the, oh yeah, here we go. Mathura pretended to like the devotees. Mathura is another way around devotee. Very likable on the outside and hard inside. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So that's the situation. So it's okay. You found that you've got your qualification. You don't believe in what I'm doing. That's all right. You do whatever you want, man. What's that to me? Ramachandra Puri also didn't believe in his own guru's devotion, and Madhavendra Puri said, "Go away. Just go away." So if that's the way you are, if you don't have respect for this way of worship, this is Krishna. Radha and Krishna is in Satchidananda. They come here every day to our Sangha in that way, in the subtle form. You don't believe it? Well, that's why that's the only Satchidananda is what really saves people in the world, is this ecstatic worship, especially now. I'm sorry that you don't appreciate it, but anyway, it is what it is. My camera's flickering here. So anyway, yeah. So and as far as because you don't have faith, I can't even really preach this. I mean, I'm only preaching for other people because there's no room in you now for this. You're too much against this. You've made up your mind. You want to instruct the devotee, because that's not a descending path. There's no room for this teaching. You're not even convincible. Even the arguments I said, I proved everything. It's all very clear, but you don't get it. You can't get it because you've lost whatever qualification you had by bad association. That's just what happens. I always tell people, don't go listen to the Vaidhi Bhakta devotees who are preaching another level. And a lot of times, well, not all the time, sometimes they do. And they end up being like the ones they're preaching to them. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, so anyway, I'll continue here. So, when the heart yearns for the sweetnesses of mood of Krishna and his eternal associates in Braj, and one is not prompted by scriptural injunctions or logical arguments, then that is a definition of sacred greed. And that's why it's shown here. Devotees who think, wow, I also want to chant like Gaur Haridas and Lalita Ganga and Johan. See, that's the sacred greed. That's why the devotees at some point show this. If they get the order, if the Lord wants this to be taught. And then those who do see it, like for you, the sacred greed isn't developing, but in others it does. Lalita Ganga likes it. Johan likes it. He was praying for this kind of thing. Yeah, you're not. And so Krishna even says, if you cannot worship Krishna with loving ecstasy, then follow the rules and regulations and scriptures to develop a desire to attain Krishna. Okay? And so that desire isn't very strong. You still have faith in Vaidhi, that that's going to get you to the spiritual dimension. You admitted that you want to go to Vaikuntha. So, okay, so that's fine. But a lot of devotees think they're going to Vrindavan following their rules and regulations and not associating with an natural ecstatic devotee who is worshiping the Lord in ecstasy. But even the scriptures, even Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'll read the verse. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration. But devotion is made feeble by such reverence, does not attract me. By performing such regulated devotional service in awe and veneration, one may go to Vaikuntha and attain the 4 kinds of liberations. So there you go. So that's not convincing enough, you know. But that's the truth. You think you're going to go, or maybe you're not because you said you want to go Vaikuntha. Okay, great. Krishna will grant your desire after probably many lifetimes of perfecting your devotional service, of course. Yeah. But there are a lot of devotees who are misunderstanding that by following strictly the rules and regulations, they're going to attain Krishna Vrindavan. No, the best you'll do is you'll either get Vaikuntha by lifetimes of practicing strictly and doing flawless, pure, flawless following rules and regulations. Okay. They believe they're going to Vrindavan that way. Oh, after many lifetimes, yeah, but then you're still going to have to accept a teaching like this, devotee association like this. Otherwise, you're not going. Even the verse says, you will not attain it that way. So you need to hear from those who have revelation on these books. See, to those who worship, follow the rules and regulations, and develop a desire to attain Krishna. When you get that desire, because you get the desire because I really want more of Krishna, I don't get enough that I want more intimacy, then you'll be open to hearing these kind of teachings. The Lord will allow you to see. When you have that desire, even for me, you didn't have that desire. You don't care about Vrindavan. You want to go to Vaikuntha. That's what you told me, right? So what is this? Is in the way here. Close. I mean, so I think I'll probably maybe end here. Let's see what else I have to say here. So then by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Raj, which is the topics we talk about all the time, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruit of activity. See, so for me to accomplish this mission, I have to show this service, and whoever's attracted, you can become that verse. That verse will be your life, will be your experience. You will just naturally abandon all varieties of religious principles and rules and regulations. Basically, you may follow them, but externally, you won't have any faith that that's going to deliver you because you're already delivered. You're delivered when Radha and Krishna accept you. That's real initiation. Real initiation is your spiritual life is really initiated beyond Vaidhi even. See, your spiritual body is awakened so you can taste this ecstatic worship where it brings tears to your eyes, choking in the voice, and all these other beautiful symptoms. Yeah, I know. This thing is blipping. Okay. I don't know what the heck is going on there. I think it's the camera. All right, I'm going to do. Okay, let me know if it's better now, the reception. Yeah, I guess, it's important to discuss this. I mean, this is important for everybody. Maybe Matura may not understand it right now because, there's got to be some room for this preaching, some faith in this. If you don't have faith, see, real bhakti, this level is a descending process. See, and so you have to be able to come to a point where you can receive this, because it comes down from the spiritual world through the spiritual master, through the real spiritual master preaching these confidential principles. See, and then you can receive this teaching, you receive this message. See, so people have received Prabhupada's message preaching to beginners and neophytes, and then they think this is contradicting it. Yes and no, not really. It's just another level of the teaching. It's where it's meant to go. That's why you need a living Shiksha Guru. That's why generally there are very few around, and therefore they're sent here. And very quickly and very easily they kind of come back up to speed. So that was my case, because I looked, to looking for some teachers. Nobody's teaching like this. And that's why Prabhupada came and asked me to do it. Yeah, so if one is fortunate, one will develop faith in this preaching, and then you will experience the result of that fortune. In your own experience, you'll experience Radha and Krishna living in your heart. But you don't have faith in it, well, it's too bad for you. We just move on. If you can't appreciate, it's, hey man, you can't appreciate gold? Well, stick with your silver or lead or whatever you're using. To me, this is golden. To me, this is the ultimate. To me, this agrees with everything I read in the book. The Raganuga level, the postgraduate level. I'm not interested in, even Krishna says, when you hear about this love of the gopis and you're chanting in ecstasy, you abandon all. Let me just read the darn thing. People don't believe what I say. They don't even believe what Prabhupada says. I mean, really says here. Then by hearing about the pure love, the resonance of Raj, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love. See, this is a path of spontaneous love. You notice? Don't you notice people are worshiping on? You think this is imagination? Are you kidding? How can we do this 365 days a year if it was some imagination? And for hours all day long, how can we do this? How could I go out there and confront the public like this? How could I confront people who don't have belief in what I'm doing? If this wasn't real. If this wasn't real, just all I would need is 2 or 3 or even 1 of those in that mood like you there, Matura. And then I would give up. Oh, they don't believe in me. Oh. Yeah. Are you still here, Matura, or did you leave a long time ago? Because see, you can insult me, but if I insult anybody's false ego, they leave or they don't like it. You insult me all you want. Yeah. I mean, can you see now? You see how the Vaidhis think like Matura. They think that way. And I come across back with the Shastra, personal experience Shastras and the sadhus, Guru Sadhu Shastra, and they don't believe it. Shows you what can be done. They don't. Where's their Guru Sadhu? They some preaching of Prabhupada. That's 50 years ago about following rules and regulations, and then even the book contradicts. That's why you need it, unless you're actually a spontaneous devotee from the get-go. You won't be able to. You need to be a spontaneous devotee, and then you chant these verses, and then Krishna gives the revelation. That's where you guys are coming to. See, you guys are getting that. You didn't have that before like this. I did from the beginning. Brought it in. Okay? That's why the Vaidhis are always trying to say that. Gohar, where's your guru? Who's instructing you? Well, I looked for the instructors. I couldn't even find one that you guys all believe in. I tried and They all come up 2 fingers too short. Okay, so, I chant these verses in ecstasy and get all kinds of revelations, man. And Prabhupada comes, what you doing? People are getting ecstasy. He said, what you doing has my full approval. I believe with all my heart, and it works because it's the real order of Prabhupada, not a dream. Okay? You guys are still dreaming. I'm not dreaming. I'm just following orders. I'm not speculating. I just follow the scriptures as they really are. Not Vaidhi teachings from 50 years ago, Prabhupada teaching things to babies and neophytes. I can't, why, how can I follow that? He's teaching just beginners, and you guys are proving you're still like beginners. You won't listen to advanced teaching from advanced devotees. You can see with your own eyes they're advanced and devoted. You don't accept it. Okay? Therefore, you got to follow the preaching of rules, regulations, and mandates, and ceremonies, and fire sacrifices, and official initiations. Because you can't, you refuse to hear from a real Shiksha Guru that is demonstrating that they know more than you. You refuse to hear, so what can be done? Intelligent, so I speak to the intelligent people. Who's right? Is Mathura Das right, or is this more right? What's more clear? Obviously, he can't hear. He's got too much association with these other people. Okay? A lot of these other Vaidhis can't hear. But you guys can hear because you've been with me for 4 years. So I asked the real Vaishnavas, the real sadhus, which opinion appears more right? Is it Mathura's, or is this opinion coming here? Which is more backed up with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra? Is it Mathura's opinion or this one? Hey, I'm not afraid to debate with you guys, with Vaidhi Bhaktas or anybody. That's why, hey man, I appreciate it. I like to sharpen my spears. And it's good for everybody, so we all get clear. It'd be nice if Mathura got clear on the thing too, Be nice. He's a nice guy. I like the guy. I don't like him criticizing Satchidananda. That I don't like. That's why I got to say something then. I'm sorry, you criticize what you see here. You're seeing the Lord's energy, man. You're seeing his Sat. Sat is, or the Chit, the knowledge, the without speculation, and the Ananda, and you go against that. You say it's imagination. Well, hey, man, that's pretty faithless. I spent a lot of years checking things out. Just like when you start the Vaidhi path, you need to give up association with karmis. Yeah, same here. You need to give up association with Vaidhis. I mean, if you want to move on, otherwise they hold you back. Yeah, even, I won't say who it was, but the person's probably here and knows. It's talking, well, I can't come because somebody is, he's got hold over me, Well, you see, you got to have real spiritual greed. You can't let anybody hold you back, really. Otherwise, you don't have the greed. The gopis and even the wives of the Brahmins to associate with ecstatic devotees, they didn't listen to their husbands. They just went and saw the Krishna through the devotees, the ecstatic devotees, brought them to Krishna. Just like here, you listen here and you attract it. You're not listening to your Vaidhi friends or your children and everything. Say, don't go here, you come. See, you're following the real Bhagavatam. You did what the wives did. They ended up getting love of Godhead, just like many of you got love of Godhead because you're following the real Bhagavatam. That's not following real. He is hindered. See, he listened to those persons who said, don't go to Gohar, he's blah, 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 blah. They're not like this. They don't have no idea about this. See, he listened to them as showing the example of those who didn't get the results that the wives of the Brahmins got. See, because they didn't let the Brahmins, their husbands, hold them back. They said, don't go to the cowherd boys. But they did, and they got love of Godhead. That's in the Mathura. You can read that. We're preaching real Bhagavatam here. You failed in that sense. Not that you failed in bhakti, but you failed that test to get spontaneous devotion. See, you need to follow more rules and regulations till you develop a desire to attain Krishna. And what that really means, Krishna is Satchidananda. Satchidananda is here. We're the test for that. If you don't desire to attain this bhakti, you don't have enough desire to attain Krishna yet. And that means Radha and Krishna. See, go follow more rules. Keep following, keep doing that. I don't care how many lifetimes it takes until you develop to a desire to attain Krishna. And Krishna is what is being given here. Satchidananda, the body of Krishna. Look at this. Lalita Ganga, good example. Johan, example, having the body of Krishna and Radha. See, Satchidananda, the Lord has given himself to them because they have faith in this preaching and you don't, and your friends don't. So you'll go another life, until you get a desire to attain Krishna. Do you understand this point, people? This is how you prove that you desire to attain Krishna, is you see Satchidananda here, which you do every day. That's Krishna, that's Radha, the Ananda. When you chant the Hare Krishna mantra in ecstasy, that means you've attained Krishna. You're manifesting Krishna in this world. Not that you're Krishna, you're manifesting Krishna in your pure devotional service. And if anybody is not attracted, then continue on doing your rules and regulations until you develop a desire to attain that. Satchidananda. The Lord will send you a bona fide guru that is not holding that back or hiding it, will show it to you. And you think, yes, that's what I want. See, that's why Lalita got it. That's why Johan, they saw, yeah, that's what I want. See, they're open to it, favorable to associate with Satchidananda. That's what we're doing here. Does that make sense, anybody? These others, well, that's why they have to fall back on the rules, and they'll have to follow that verse in Bhagavad Gita. If you don't worship me with loving ecstasy, then go and follow the rules and regulations of the Vedas until you develop a desire to attain Krishna. And see, didn't say attain Krishna, develop a desire to attain Krishna, because when you get that desire, then the Lord will give you the right understanding. You say, this is the real guru who's bringing forth Krishna to me to enter into my heart. See a channel for Krishna, making a channel in me for Krishna, like that channel is in them. They're a real flute channeling Krishna's potency, Satchidananda, in this world. I'm ready. I've been waiting for this. Got it? So this is great, man. Thank you, Matura. If you're still around, probably not. I probably left a long time ago. I don't blame you. It's probably too hard for the false identifications. Yeah. All right, I got to stop here. That's enough talk. I got to rest my voice for tonight. Okay, Hare Krishna, my friends. We'll come back for some juicy chanting and everything. And if Matura, you haven't finished, you haven't had enough, come back and we'll have more discussion. Got it loud and clear. Yeah, this is great, isn't it? Yeah, I think it was time to do a little more war stuff. Let's have a little war. Make things interesting. Little debates and fights. Let's fight the Vaidhis. We'll fight them with our tongues, preaching. Yeah, it's so funny. It shows you that people just have a hard time, even in religion. It's maybe especially in religion. They have a hard time appreciating ecstatic worship. That's the real God, the real Lord. Lord Krishna is this ecstatic energy, ecstatic potency. Yeah. Okay, good night, everybody. See you later.